but there's also our chicken teriyaki that we're going to get started now. So at a touch of a button, we're into the recipe, and it's going to guide us step by step through each of the steps, and you'll see that also. So let's start cooking. Take the lid off, tear that down back to 0, and we're going to start by adding our oil. So only 10 grams, just like that, having a bit of a, and then next, and then we're going to add our chicken. So the chicken asked us to cut it up into thin strips, and I've used my mini thermoserver, 500ml mini thermoserver, to keep it safe on the bench and reasonable temperature. So I'll tip all of that in, pop that over there to be washed up. Should have passed it to my trusty assistant, and simply click next and pop that lid back on. And instead of the measuring cup for this one, because we are using the high heat function, which is one of the great assets to the TM6 specifically, we're putting that splash guard on, because what that does is let steam out without letting any other bits and pieces come out and splash us at that high heat. So it asks us to confirm that's on, and then we simply start for the high heat to go. Now you'll hear the blades turning for a short period of time, and then they stop. They basically let the meat sit on the bottom of the bowl, and then as it cooks, it lets it sit there for a little while and caramelize, and then we'll slowly turn the blades again to move the meat around, turn it to a different side, and then cook it again. So that will happen now for 5 minutes, so 4.5 minutes left to go. What other things would you like to see browned in your Thermomix, or what other things do you currently brown on the stove when you're cooking? You'll hear the sizzle. I hope you can hear the sizzle. What's happening there in the chat? There's a few other people have joined us. I'd love to hear in the chat if you already have a Thermomix, if you've got a TM5, TM6 or a TM31, or if you don't have one yet, pop that in there as well. We've just started our chicken teriyaki. We've got oil and the chicken in the bowl, and it's currently using the high heat function to brown that meat off. And once that's done, we'll take it out and pop it aside, and then we'll do our veggies here. Okay. I might get Alicia to share the recipe in the chat too, if you can. Excellent. So you can see the steam coming out there now, keeping it nice and safe because it's all enclosed in there with this splash guard on the top. I have my trusty assistant with me today, and she often cooks in our Thermomix. She is head chef of sweets making. She made some jelly snacks yesterday, day before, to try and get away from, you know, different store-bought sugary treats and things. So you might want to go grab them. You can show them later. They're just there. So once this is done, we're then going to take the chicken out and we're going to add our veggies. You can use any assortment of veggies. I have followed the recipe for this one today, so you can see how many go in. It is important to stick to the weight when you're using the high heat function, but not so much the actual thing. So if you didn't have any capsicum, you could easily have just used a few more snow peas or carrot or a bit more broccoli or whatever you choose. If you don't love broccoli, you could leave that out and change it around. So as long as the overall weight is around the same, that works well. It's really important when you're doing the chicken part to not do too much weight in that space. If you wanted to double this recipe, what I would recommend is to go back and do this step again. It's only 5 minutes. So you do your 10 grams of oil and then your chicken, do the 5 minutes, then take that chicken out, do your 10 grams of oil and your chicken again. And the reason I say that is because if you add too much meat to your bowl when you're using our high heat function, you will broil the meat. It will actually cook in its juices rather than cooking with the high heat and searing it and getting that lovely caramelization. So that's one of the really key things for the browning function of this one. Thanks, Alicia. When you're doing some of our other high heat recipes, it's also important to stick to the measurements, and I'll show you that actually. For those who've just joined, I am hoping to fit in some honeycomb at the end as well to show you some of the different other high heat things you can do with the sugar work. Any questions so far about the Thermomix at all? Anything in the chat there yet? Because I've turned off everyone's faces, it's really weird not being able to see anyone. Let us know where you're zooming in from today and who invited you along. That'd be lovely. Lots of our consultants invited people along to learn a bit more about the TM6 today. If there's something you want me to show you later, I do have a very full stock pantry and I'm willing to grab out anything you want to see done in there as well. So, or Amelia could, she's quite capable as well. Got 48 seconds to go. What veggies would you put in one of your stir fries? It's in the chat there. Oh, that's the recipe. Excellent. One of the things, like I said, I'd recommend is whenever you're approaching any of your Thermomix dishes is to think about making it your own. So what I mean by that, especially with the basic cookbook, I call it basic for a reason. It's basic to help you form the base of lots of meals. Now, how they come out as is may suit your family, but you might find something isn't to your liking. So, for example, with garlic, 1 clove of garlic. Now, what is 1 clove of garlic? And whoever uses just one, not I, maybe some of you. So if you love garlic, add more. That's up to you. If you would normally add more to your bolognese, then do that. That is the benefit of having a Thermomix. You can mix and match and everything like that. All right, so we're going to take this off. Now, making sure we're being a bit safe because it is nice and boiling hot. I'll show you that meat there. Hopefully that's coming across okay in the screen. I think it is. You can see there's a little bit of liquid there. So what we're going to do is use tongs and my thermo server here. Now, can you just grab that veggies, please? All right. I'm going to use tongs to get the meat out of the mixed bowl so that that liquid doesn't sit in the bottom of here and keep cooking that chicken. So just get that out nice and carefully, like so. Has anyone made this dish before, for those who've got their Thermomix already? Put that in the chat as well. All right. Now, what you will see, hopefully you can see that, is there's still some chicken stuck to the bottom. The next step on this recipe, once it says to take it out and set it aside, it is cover and keep it warm, which we'll do. Pop that over there. Amelia, can you pop the lid back on that, please? Is scrape the base of the mixing bowl with your spatula. So you want to loosen any of that extra chicken off the bottom and any caramelization that's started. Now, caramelization is normal as part of this process because that's what happens when you're doing it on the stove. So just think about when you're cooking something on the stove and the caramelization happens there, you get those, can you see that? Probably not. Nice brown bits on the bottom. Fantastic, Vitor. All right, so I'm just going to take a few of those bits out and put them over there as well. Everything else gets to stay. There's the lid. All right, next. Now we're going to add back to the veggies. It does ask for an echalot. So echalot is part of the onion family, and we're not that fancy. I had onion in the cupboard, so we're using onion today. So I'll pop that in. Next, our red capsicum, all in. It said to cut those into 2 to 3 centimetre pieces, so I've done them kind of like that. Next, carrot cut into matchsticks. So you could probably cut them into rounds as well. It will just impact the way they cook, that's all. Next, our snow peas. I love snow peas, so I would absolutely double that, and I probably would have taken a little bit of the capsicum out. But like I said, I want you to see it as it's intended. And then last of all, our broccoli. So Amelia's saying she doesn't like most of these veggies, so that's a whole other story. All right, all that broccoli is in. We added then a little bit of extra olive oil. About that, I think I've did over, but that's okay. You can probably all see how much over I went. I've come a long way with my Thermomixing. For those who might have known me a little while ago, I am a rule follower from way back. And so when something said 20 grams, I would have done 20 grams. I've grown. So asking for the splash guard again, And we're now going to stir fry those veggies in here. So another 5 minutes of stir frying there. Pop that in the front there. All right. So Vitor said he's going to try that. That's fantastic. And again, you can hear the exact same thing happens with this one as it did with the chicken. It'll stir it for a little bit, then stop, let the veggies sit on the bottom and up the sides here because it gets very hot. You'll notice when this goes red, that's when it's gone past 60 degrees. So you can see there it just changed for me like I planned it. The side of the bowl will now get hot. It is stainless steel, so that is part of the bowl that you don't want to touch when it's hot. And that's why we have the beautiful ergonomic handle at the front there to make sure it's nice and safe. All right, so we've got another 5 minutes. Does anyone have any questions already in the chat? Anyone got anything to ask? I'm just going to quickly check who we've got on today. Amy, Ash, Jane. Hi, Jane. Lauren. I think I know who Lauren is as well. Oh, I lost someone. Debbie Gomel, welcome. Excellent, quite a few of you. All right, so for those who've joined a little bit after we started, can you just let me know what model Thermomix you have? And is there anything in particular you want to get out of today? What do you want to learn about the Thermomix today? That's what I'm here for. You can hear it simmering away. And while you're putting things in the chat, if you do have questions, my name is Hannah McKee. I didn't actually introduce myself. I just got straight into cooking. I have had my Thermomix for 6 years now, or coming up to 6 years. And I got my Thermomix because I could see the benefit of saving time. So that was really important to me all the way back then. I had 3 young children. Amelia is my eldest, my little helper today. And she was 4 at the time. She's almost 10. And then we have Zoe, who is almost 8, and then Lachlan, who's almost 6. So he was only 3 months old when I got started. But I joined, like I said, I could see how I could save time easily in the kitchen, and I could see how my friends and family could also do the same thing. So I wanted that for them as well. What I then realized is actually how much I love to cook. I just hadn't been taking the time to cook. So it reignited that passion for creating different things for our household and our family. And I guess the rest, as I say, is history. Do you want to grab your gummies? What I found along the way is there's so many different reasons why I love the Thermomix now, and one of which is because this one here loves being in the kitchen and having a go at cooking. And they all get involved, but she's obviously, no, wrong one, this one. She, yeah, so these are the passion fruit gummies on Cookie Doo, made into all different shapes. These ones are the heart shapes. And then there's some unicorns and some stars. We didn't do passion fruit though, Amelia. What did we do?
We did mango and orange.
Mango and orange. We had some frozen mango in the freezer and some oranges in the fruit bowl. And we decided that that would be easier rather than going to the shops. So she got in and made those on Thursday night because you had a rewards day at school and you're able to take some gummies to school. So
yes.
Yeah, so it made quite a few. There's a whole bunch in here and they've eaten some already. And that's the other thing I'd encourage you to do again. If you don't have a particular item, think about substituting it. If you don't like chicken, you could easily do another type of meat in here, so pork or beef or whatever it might be. You could actually even ditch the chicken altogether and do more veggies. So in that first chicken step, instead of putting chicken in there, put 250 grams of veggies in. Really bulk out the meal with the veggies, whatever is suited to your liking. So there's a few things happening in the chat there now. Alicia, do I need to answer any of those things? No. All right. 40 seconds to go. With the mango, the reason we put the orange in was because the mango was frozen, and when we chopped the mango, it was still quite dry. And I thought there might need to be a bit of liquid. So we just added 1 orange and blitzed it up, the whole orange, including the flesh, and then followed the recipe as it was from there on. So we're really happy with how it turned out. And over the holidays, she's going to try all the different types of flavors. So watch this space. There'll be raspberry flavor, I think, and maybe some blueberry.
Fruit juice.
Fruit juice is all of the different fruits, sweetie. maybe we might get some passion fruit and give some passion fruit a go as well. If you can think of a flavor combination that might work, please let us know. We'll happily try it out. All right, that's our veggies done. Let's give that a next, and we're going to pop them into the serving bowl with the chicken. So hopefully that's not steaming up the camera too much. There they are, nice and cooked. Watermelon, we got watermelon today actually, that's a good idea. So I'll bring this back over again and pop the veggies in there now. So I'm going to use these to get it out. Again, like I said before, we don't want the juices in there cooking the other things still, otherwise it will broil in its own juice. So grabbing them out into the bowl. Now, if I was doing this myself, I would just be tipping it out right now. But I want the best possible result for you guys. So I'm going to do it as the recipe kind of suggests. Don't mind me. Because the next step is actually making the sauce that goes on them as well. So like so. Now I want to show you again the bottom of the bowl. So that is normal. We absolutely expect that to happen because we are caramelizing and browning the chicken, the meat and the veggies. So that is all we expect. Again, it's going to ask us to scrape the bottom of the bowl. That is to start lifting some of that up. But what happens excitingly in this recipe particularly is the next step, we actually deglaze the bowl by making the sauce. So we'll just do that a little bit. You can see it quite easily lifts quite a lot of it off. There we go. Next. Do not clean the mixing bowl. We want 10 grams of fresh ginger peeled, which is on here. Now, I've got mine in rounds. I actually store my ginger in the freezer. So I buy it and chop it up in these little round pieces and then pop it in a container into the freezer. And the reason I do that is so that I have it on hand whenever I want it, which means that I can obviously do things at hand whenever I like, but also I never get through the full knob of ginger when I buy it. So it's obviously avoiding wasting food as well. Then we want 10 grams of garlic, which I have here. Just bear with me a second. I'm just having, now, oops, missed that step. So here's my garlic. Lots of little small cloves on at the moment for our house. So, which will be basically all of it, a bit extra garlic, that's okay. And we're gonna chop that up. This time we're gonna pop our measuring cup in so we don't get any garlic and ginger flying out of the bowl. You can hear it's already finished, so I'm going to stop it and I'm going to scrape down the bowl and do it again. Does anyone chop ginger and garlic or onion and garlic at home already without a Thermomix? Hands up if that's currently you. Back up again. All right, asking us to scrape down again. Now you'll notice it does have a delay for the arms to open, and that changes when you're in different dishes depending on what you're cooking. And the reason for that is safety. So it won't let the arms release until the blades stop spinning. So if you've got your blade spinning for a longer amount of time, it generally takes a little bit longer to let the food out. I'm just going to do that one more time. Now, because I've sliced those ginger bits so finely, they're finding it a bit hard to get to the bowl, and because they're wet, there we go, they're chopped now. Excellent. So that's all chopped up really finely in the bottom there. So you should be able to see that. Excellent. Our next step then is to scrape down. Yeah, I'll better just do that. Tear, and we're going to add our tamari. So tamari is a soy sauce. You could use regular soy sauce if you like, but tamari is basically salt reduced soy sauce. So we use that in place of all soy sauce in our house rather than having two different types. Just recognizing that when you do use something that's different to the recipe, it can change the flavor. Could you please get me the other bottle of this, Amelia, from the pantry? Need another bottle. I've underestimated how much is in the recipe. Second shelf from the bottom. Thank you. Who else needs a trusty assistant in their kitchen? There we go. And as you can probably tell, we go through a little bit of it, which is why I've always got one spare. For those who already have a Thermomix, what do you think was the biggest change for your pantry? Next, now we want our honey. Got some lovely South Coast honey this time. That in, we want 30 grams. Okay. Might be cutting this one fine as well. Luckily, I have some more. There we go. Share that with someone later. Next. Now we've got our gluten-free corn flour already prepared. Just making sure that was what I hoped it was. Give that a scrape in. That'll just give us a little bit of thickening for this recipe. Can you stop tapping that, please? And then just 2 teaspoons of water. So I've got them ready to go, so I don't have to fiddle with that. Again, I would just be putting a couple of little bits in. And the reason we traditionally measure that way is because the Thermomix used to weigh in 5 gram increments, but it now weighs in just 1 gram increments. So I love the fact that I can weigh anything I want now. Okay, so now we're going to just cook that off for 3 minutes. There, you can probably see the screen better than I can. All right, while that's going, I better put the lid back on these chicken and veggies here. Let me just show you that again. Aren't they lump? Delicious looking. If you're a meal prepper, that's a great thing for you to do. You might not necessarily have sauces, but you could just stop there and you could not do the next steps. So if you just like nice clean chicken and veggies, you'd be done by now. But you can add this little extra few things in for a bit more flavor. All right, now I'm going to swap screens for a second, I think. Let me see if I can do what I want to do. To this one. Okay, so while that's cooking, I just want to quickly show you some of the things we've got on offer at the moment for those who maybe haven't seen them yet. All right, let me go back. Oh, gone too far ahead. So first of all, I wanted to make sure everybody is aware that we do have a price change coming. It is coming out mid-July. We don't know what the price is yet. We just know that it's coming, and it's fantastic. We've been given the notice so that anybody who is looking to save money with their Thermomix and get their Thermomix now can get it before that price rise comes. So your consultant will know the actual price sometime in July, and will know the date that's coming on the 1st of July. So please make sure you're in touch with your consultant. If you are interested in sooner rather than later, then this will certainly help that. Obviously, we're coming up to the end of June, so you've got that opportunity to get it on your bench with the end of financial year as well, and anything else that might be important to you. Obviously, many of you know that the cost of everything goes up every year, and the Thermomix price actually hasn't changed significantly in quite a long time. In fact, when they launched the TM6, it is $9 cheaper than buying the TM5 with a cook key. So even though it's still more expensive than the TM5 on its own, when you add the cook key in to get that wireless connectivity with the cookie dough on the screen and everything, it's actually cheaper. So it's pretty exciting. And it was an introductory price that, because of various things that happened in our environment, COVID and whatnot, it didn't feel right to change it at the time, but it has come a time when we have to. Now, the next thing I wanted to share with you, obviously we've got our different payment options there. So you can buy your Thermomix outright with your credit card or PayPal. You can either use one of our finance options, so our Easy 3 payment option, or our Zip Money option. So that's done all through Zip Money. And the last one I think is the most exciting, because that's what I did, and that is our Earn option. Come on board, earn your Thermomix with 6 sales. So if that's something that interests you, I'd really encourage you to find out more about that. We have obligation-free information sessions every week, and you can learn something about what it means to be a consultant as well. So please, if you are interested, either pop it in the chat now and we can have a chat today, or let your consultant know as well. That's just finished, but I'm just going to finish this slide because the other thing we have on offer at the moment is our mini vacuum cleaner as a $49 add-on to your Thermomix purchase. So I'm going to stop sharing because I've got mine here. Ta-da! And it has been out on loan for some other consultants to use while they're waiting for theirs. So it's just come back. So I'm pretty excited about that. And I don't have any mess really to clean up today, but it's nice and simple, handy to use, very lightweight, and it will live in our kitchen to clean up the messes that some of the people in my household might make. Yes, someone like her. So that is a fantastic, it's normally $299 and you can get it for $49 when you add it to your Thermomix purchase this month. So that finishes on the 30th of June. All right, so our sauce has finished. Let me just change you back to the other screen. That is this one. There we go. All right, so hopefully you can see that. Delicious, delicious. So there is our nice thick teriyaki sauce. So all we have to do now is pour that over the chicken and veggies combined by stirring. So if you can bring that bowl back over, Amelia. Ooh, let's just pop that there. There we go. Take the lid off for me, please. All right. And then you can see that sauce is going to pour out and it's quite thick. So nice thick sauce. I'm doing this left-handed. I'm just going to swap hands because that's a bit silly. Can you go and click later on my phone, please? There we go. Beautiful thick sauce. Again, like I said, if you wanted to decrease the amount of sauce, or you have someone in your household who doesn't like sauce, like I was all my childhood, you could easily have taken their portion out already and then just put this through whatever is left over. You could obviously put it on the side to serve as well. My picky kids actually won't eat what we're having now, so my husband and I will eat this, so it all goes in and over. There we go. Stir it through. And we are good to go. Now, you could have this with your choice of side. So that could be rice, cauliflower rice, noodles if you like, or simply on its own, because it's absolutely certainly its own meal all on its own.